Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Well, Metallica has released another new single. It's called If Darkness Had a Sun. This was released a week ago today, obviously. I usually try to crank these things out earlier, but I've been on vacation. Literally, they released this song while I was driving to Vegas. So I had to do my Vegas trip, and then I had to recover from my Vegas trip, if you know what I mean. And now I'm ready to start working on it. So we're gonna crank out If Darkness Had a Sun. Got some really cool rhythms in it. So I like, especially as the song develops and we do that rhythm that happens kind of in the kind of the bridge and the solo and then the end of the song. It's really, really cool stuff. So I hope you guys will be following along. Now, before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Ring that notification bell so you know when we see a new video. You can like and comment on them. You can kind of help me out out here on YouTube by watching my videos and sharing them with all your guitar buddies. And I appreciate everything that anybody can do. And if you really want to support what I do here on YouTube or anywhere online, click the link in the description. You're going to see it's a link to my Guitar Academy. It's a GL365 Academy. That link will actually give you a free 7-day trial. My Academy has all my guitar courses. You get full access to all of them with one subscription. You get personalized support from me. I go live every Saturday there as well and just chat with Academy members so that you can get all your questions answered. So we got a great community, so please come join us. All right, so let's kick into this. So we're gonna start with just kind of like a slow gallop. So it's just a quick down, up, down. And just kind of get that going for a while. And then we have Kirk that comes in with a little melody over that. So that little melody is going to be a kind of a quick half-step bend and release at the 10th fret there on the D. And then the same thing at the 9. Then go over to the 7th fret and just play that with that ring on the A string there. And then back to the D string. Quick little half-step bend and release at the 9th fret again. Down to the 5th fret on the A. So this. Just repeat that. So the 4th time, let that ring, and then pick it and slide up and let it ring there at the 7th fret. So that's going on over. That kind of thing going. Now from there, they kind of go into the main riff of the song. Looks like this. So this main riff, you're gonna be up here at the 12th fret on the A and hammer 13 over to 12 on the D string. And then play 13, 12 on the low E. And then a quick little ending with the same hammer 12 to 13 on the A to 12 on the D. So we have this. And then 4 times of hitting that little gallop. So this. And that's the main riff. All right, so now we have this next section where the vocals come in. I don't really know what to call this part. It doesn't sound really like a verse. It kind of sets us up for the verse. So I kind of, since he's saying like temptation stuff, so I just call it the temptation riff. Whatever, it's musically I couldn't really figure out what it is. I mean, so it looks like this. All right, so that's kind of a variation of that main riff. So we're gonna do this 5-6 hammer on the low E, overdo 5 on the A to the E power chord. Kind of chug on that a bit. And then you can open up the chords there. E power chord, F power chord, the first fret there. Back to the E, so this. Let's repeat that 4 times. All right, and then we get to the verse. Now the verse goes back to that little gallop feel. So a quick little down, up, down, and we're gonna do it on each chord, that quick little gallop on each one. And we're just kind of dragging a power chord chromatically. Heavily palm muted as well. So it's basically, so that same rhythm pretty much all the way to the very end there. And there's a little fill that, a little thing that Kirk will do that I gotta make sure I do. So we have, first the power chord is at the 5th fret. So you can do that on it, heavily palmed. And now I'm gonna show you what frets to move it to. So it's gonna move chromatically down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so. Then back to 2, 3, 2. So this. So that's the riff for the most part. You can do it that way 3 times. And then the last time, you're gonna still kind of start it the same way. But when you get down to the 1st fret, just open it up. No longer palm, you just hit that chord once. 2, 3, 2. Sorry. So when you hit these chords, at the very end, that's when Kirk is doing this, which is just 10, 11, 12, 11 on the G string there. All right, so that takes us back to the main riff again. And then from there, we go to the chorus. And now the chorus looks like this. All right, so that's pretty simple. This power chord at the 5th fret of the A string, play that, slide it down to 3. Then play this one, slide down to 2. To the E power chord. Then back to the power chord at the 3rd fret of the A string, and slide 3 to 2 again. And then resolve it to the F power chord off the 1st fret of the low string. So this. And then we get this F power, hit it like 3 times, and then you do the riff again. And it just has a different ending. It goes the same, but instead of going down to the F, it goes, replace that F the 2nd time through with this D power chord at the 5th fret of the A. So all together. Repeat. And then you can go back to that gallop. So from there, we go back to the main riff again, and back to the Temptation riff, and then the verse again, and then the main riff again, and then the chorus again. And then so after the 2nd chorus, we get to the bridge section, which ramps things up quite a bit. So it looks like this. All right, so this is gonna start with. So we're gonna start with the second fret there on the A and the D together, and pulling off to the open strings, the open A, D. And when you do that, then you hit the low E open, kind of palm it. So we do that little lick. So we do that here at the second fret, and then the third, and then the fifth, and then back to third. Always kind of going back and hitting that open E in between. So with this. And then so back down to 2, and then to open E. So with this. So that much. We just want 2, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, the same lick each time. And then you kind of do it again. You kind of start, do the pull off from the 2 and the 3. But you jump to this power chord at the 3rd fret of the low string, hit that a couple times, and the F sharp power chord 1 fret lower. So it's. So all together. And then you start doing the riff again, except it has a different ending. Instead of playing this F sharp, we're gonna play this D power chord at the 5th fret of the A string. So that's the only difference. So like this. Then you start repeating the riff again with the F sharp ending. And then the 4th time through, you don't get all the way through it. So it just does that in the first half, down to the pull off between the 2, from the 2. And there's 3 sets of 2 hits each on that E power chord. And then we get from the bridge, we get to the solo. So the solo kind of keeps some of this rhythm going, and then he changes up and it introduces a new rhythm, like kind of halfway through the solo, that we're actually going to do a variation on the main riff at the end of the song with. It's a really cool rhythm as well too. So here's what's going on underneath the solo. All right, so we're gonna start here really with that bridge. So just that much of it, just repeated 4 times. Now, having said that, the 4th time, we do have a different ending. Just like we did in the bridge there, we just kind of, the 4th time through, go up 2, 3, 5, 3, 2. And those 3 sets of 2s for the low E hits. And then we mix it up and he starts adding, James throws a different rhythm at us here, which is actually a really cool feel to it that they go in big time at the end of the song. So. So we're gonna start with still that, the 2 on the A and the D, to the pull off to the open strings, then the open E, then go to the F power chord there. So, and then the same thing, but you're gonna go to the G power chord. So just remember, hit that low E, and then the chord. Then the same thing, but to the G. And then here's where we introduce the new rhythm. So this rhythm is a... So the actual rhythm itself, when you hear it, especially later on the song, it's comprised of one hit and then 4 sets of 2. And then 1 hit. So think of it 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1. That's the rhythm. That's the feel of it. And then you just repeat that. So when you repeat it, since it ends with a 1 and it begins with a 1, there's going to be 2 1s in a row as you go. So it looks like this. Repeat. So with this. Sounds like something Pantera would do, actually. So we basically have this. So this first hit there takes place on where you would usually hit that, just that 1 hit to start it. So from there, it's to the 2s already. So when you actually get to the low E string, you're gonna do those 4 sets of 2s, then the 1. So we have this. And then you repeat the riff that we did before. And then you just repeat that whole riff again. So like the 4th time, then he just kind of keeps with the rhythm. He doesn't do the chords anymore. He goes. All right, so he does that out to the end of the solo there. So it's really, really cool rhythm that's being drowned out by the solo, but it's like one of the coolest riffs of the song. But you hear it big time at the end is when they bring it in, kind of a variation of that main riff. You'll be able to hear it quite well. So they know it rocked, and they brought it back at the very end of the song. All right, now we have actually Kirk's solo over that. So let me play through this solo for you real quick, and then I'll show you how to play it. So that's got some, some typical kind of Kirk Hammett blues bass, kind of wah drenched licks, and kind of some legato kind of patterns that move around quite a bit. So if you're familiar with Kirk's style at all, a lot of this stuff you might have seen before, and hopefully you'll be able to get through it pretty quickly. So let's start here with, I'm gonna kind of ditch the wah here and the delay, and so you can kind of hear the notes that are going on. So it starts here with these double stops here. So we basically have just the 7th fret on the G and the B string. You play those and just kind of routinely kind of bend them towards the floor, just pull them down and then release. So it's kind of in that rhythm, and then it ends with that, which is a pull off from 7 to 5 on the G string, then over to 7 on the D string. So, okay, and then we get into this lick, which is pretty common with Kirk, where it's not strict like alternate picking. It's not like that where every single note is picked once. This is more of like, he's almost like he's tremolo picking. And he's kind of, so notice kind of a lot of them are being hit twice. But it's the same pattern he usually will use. So it's 17, 15, 12 on the high E string. So kind of stick with that for a bit. See how that top note's maybe hit a few more times? And at the very end, before he starts moving it down, you're gonna move the top note up to the 18th fret. So, kind of a big stretch there. And then it's like a chromatic lick where it sounds like I said, this one is kind of chaotic, this part of it, so it's really hard to kind of pick up exactly what he's doing. But it sounds closer to, he's kind of starting, goes back down here, and he plays 12, 10, 8. Kind of that same thing. It's not really alternate pick. It's more of a tremolo pick. Notes being played multiple times. And then you just got to take that down chromatically. So 12, 10, 8, then 11, 9, 7, then 10, 8, 6, and then 9, 7, 5. So it's kind of, and then when he gets done here, you're gonna hit the open high E string hit a couple times. So. Now that is being heard when he's transitioning. He's shifting back up to do that. So that's kind of all together. So this lick up here is gonna hammer 12 to 14 on the D string. Gotta hit it a couple more times on that 14. Then over the double stop, share the 12th fret on G and the B. Then back to that 14 on the D, and then we have the double stops at the 14th fret on the G and the B, then 12 on the G and the B, over to 14 on the D. So that kind of ends that whole. All right. From there, we go into like, he kind of ascends and does this thing. So these kinds of solos where they're really blues based and kind of real feel based, they're actually the hardest ones to memorize because there's a lot of licks that are very similar and sound very similar, but have slight variations. So most likely when he's doing this, he's improvising it mostly. He's just kind of winging it. So he might not repeat it the exact same way every single time. He's just kind of, you know, feeling it, what he wants to do with it. So that makes it, for us, a little bit harder to just kind of get note for note, and you gotta really kind of listen to it a billion times to kind of get the sound of it in your head. But, so this is gonna happen a lot in the solo. But, so basically when we start here, so we're gonna start with this ascending lick. You're gonna hammer 12 to 14 on the A and the D. And you're gonna grab those same double stops, that double stop at the 12th fret across the G and the B. Then back to that 14 on the D, and then there's a bend and release at the 14th fret there on the G string. Pull off to 12, and then over to 14. So, and then we start this little lick. So he does this 6 times. The last 3 times he adds a new note in there. So we're basically, the lick is, so from this 14th fret on the D, go to the 12th on the G, and then 15, 14, 12 on the G. So that's the first way of playing the lick. You do that 3 times. And then 3 more times, but this time you're gonna add the 14th fret there on the G string. So as you go up, you're not gonna skip that 14 now. You're gonna go up, play 14, 15, 14, back to 12. So see if you pick the difference. All the way up, grab that 14. And the rest is the same. He'll change the timing a little bit too, like especially when it's. Then I'll speed it back, so I kind of slow it down and then bring it back up. So we have. So then we get to after about 6 times there, or 3 times of that new way of playing it. So we have this bend at the 14 on the G, over to 12 on the high E, to 12 on the B. Into a bend at the 15th fret there on the B. Then play 12 on the high E string, and pull off 15 to 12 on the B. Then we have this phrase. So that goes a quick bend at the 15 on the B string again, into the 12th fret there on the high E. And then it's kind of like a funky feel between 15 and 12 on the B. And then a quick little 12 on the B string, pull off 14, 12 on the G. And then we get that feel again where we just go 12, 14 a couple times. And then kind of a bend at the 14, pull off to 12, over to 14 on the D. So all together there, we have all right, now after that, we have, I believe from there it goes to the, so that's just a bend at the 14th fret and just kind of really play that staccato at the top of the bend. Release, kind of another bend and release. Then 14, 12. All right, now we have this lick. So that's more double stops here. 14th fret on the G and the B, then the 12th fret on the G and the B, over to 14 on the D, and then back to those 2 12s. So this. And then you gotta start that again. But when you get to that 14 on the D, jump up to the 15th fret bend on the B string. So we have this. From there, we have some oblique bends. Now, what an oblique bend is when you have a note being held on one string and then a note being bent, or just bend and release on the other string. So it looks like this. So that's right there, and that's going to be playing the 15th fret there on the B string, and then that note you're going to, first of all, you're going to do a pre-bend at the 14th fret on the G, hit those 2 notes together, and then release that bend on the G. So it comes up. And then we have 12 on the G and the B, over to 14 on the D, back to this double stops at 12th fret. So this. All right, now we're getting towards the end of the solo. We have this little phrase. So that's going to be the 12th fret there on the A, hammer 14, and then pick 14 a couple times. And then the same thing on the D. Then you go over to the 12 on the G string, back to the 14 on the D, back to the 12, kind of a bend and release there on the 14, pull back off to 12, over that 4, resolve to that 14 on the D. Now from there, he kind of slides into that 14 on the G. And then he kind of just messes around with the double stop between 14 and 12 a couple times. And then he just kind of pauses there, kind of just holds that note, and then it jumps into that legato lick. Now the legato lick is really fun to play. It moves around pretty quick, and it looks like this. So I kind of did some more after it, but so it's always going to be like kind of a 3-note pattern. So you're going to start here at the 12th fret on the high E string, pull off to 10, and then pull off to the open string. So that's going to be the pattern for the whole lick. So work on that for a second. So all we do now is we're going to just kind of move this along the high E string. So we're going to first do 12, 10, pull to the open, and then 10, 8. Always going to pull to the open string at the end. So then you're going to jump down here to 7, 5. Then up to 8, 7. Then you're going to go back to the 7 and 5. Down to 5 and 3. 3 and 2. So that kind of makes it, and we'll kind of stop there for a second. So we have this. It's kind of like the first half of it. Now the second half of it, you're going to come back and play the 5 to 3. 5 to 3. Pull off, obviously, and then the 7 to 5. You're going to do that twice. And then work your way back down to the 5 and 3, back down to the 3, 2. So we have 5, 3, 7, 5, 5, 3, 7, 5, 5, 3, 3, 2. And then work your way back up, 5, 3, 7, 5. So all together. And then you're going to kind of the end of the solo here. So that that's a bend and release of the 10th fret. I believe that's what he's doing here. So he's working his way back up. It makes sense that he's doing it here instead. But it doesn't really matter. But so it's a bend and release there at the 10th fret there in the B. Down to 8. And then 9, 7 on the G. And then the third one you kind of play quicker. You don't. This kind of just gets it quicker without doing the kind of pause on the first note. And then it kind of descends all the way down with so the fourth time through. That same beginning, pull off 9 to 7 on the D, over to 9 to 7 on the G, then over to 9 on the D, then back 7, 9, 7 on the G, then 9, 7, 9 on the D, and then come back to the G string, the 7 and 9. Sounds like he kind of does a quick 2 hammer-ons in a row. So with this. And then when you hit that, you hit the open E string, and then into the 7th fret on the A, 5 on the D, and then 9 on the D. Just on an E minor arpeggio to end it. All right, so that's it for the solo. Now, coming out of the solo, we have a lot of the same verse. We go back into the verse, that main riff again, and then we have a chorus variation. So this chorus here is going to extend it. So the last time you hear the chorus is quite a bit different. So it looks like this. All right, so similar, we're gonna start here with the same riff. And then, so that's the same here. So after you've done the chorus like normal, then it just goes into that same, kind of that little gallop again. Just kind of 4 times playing it, and then the kind of heavily palmed 4 hits on the F power chord here at the 1st fret of the low E, and then the 3rd fret power chord, the C power chord there at the 3rd fret of the A. And then we play the chorus again, but it's a little different. So right there, you can see I'm just kind of always ending it there the first 3 times through at least with that the F power chord. And then the last time through, you're back up to the D power chord at the 5th fret. And then back to that rhythm. All right, and then we get to the main riff again. The only really difference you hear is the same riff, but you hear this little, you can do here too, but it might be done here. Well, you might be playing it once and it's just a delay that's doing it, but it's at the 17th fret there on the B string, and then you're gonna hit that while you're bending up the 19th fret on the G. So that could just be done once and then just copied pasted in the studio or whatever. Sounds pretty consistent though. But that's what's going on there. You'll hear that little riff. And then we get to the main riff again, and they do it's kind of like the rhythm that's in the bridge. Really kind of the rhythm in the solo that you saw, that was kind of a little bit different of feel riff. They kind of apply that to the main riff now. So it's that riff, that rhythm that you heard in the rhythm guitar part of the solo being played with the main riff. So it looks like this. All right, so that rhythm is kind of the same that we did before. So that one hit, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, then 1. So it's just kind of 1, then 4 2s, and then a 1. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1. That's how you kind of want to feel that. And just kind of repeat that. And then obviously catch the riff. And it's kind of an abbreviated version of the riff. We just kind of do that little hammer from 12 to 13 on the A, over to 12 on the D, and then that 13, and then that's E stops. So you basically you do that. So James does that. Kirk comes in with a little higher line. I'll show you in a second. And then we have, so that riff being played kind of really 7 times. So. And then after 7 times, you kind of just, you don't do that little lick, you just. So it's kind of like you do that full rhythm without the little lick. 3 full times. That's 1 time, and then that's 2. And that's 3, so we have this. Then on the 4th time through it is when you do that little lick and you end the song with those 2 power chords. So that's just that same lick, and then it's gonna come back here and grab this F power chord at the 8th fret of the A string, down to the E power chord there at the 7th fret. All right, so that's what James is doing at the very end of the song. But we also have Kirk doing this kind of a, and he lets his note ring. So he kind of has this, he's probably playing it here, like I said, there's no visual evidence of this really doing this yet, so that's kind of a hammer 10 to 11 on the B, over to 10 La high E string, and then 10-9 on the G. So you hear that kind of going with James' riff. And then at the very end, sounds like there's a little octave action going on. You almost hear this high, even you can hear that even when they're doing the normal riff before you really start hearing him come in with this. You almost hear that kind of octave of it there too as well. So Kirk does this a little bit and then just ends it with this octave, this 10th fret there on the B, I'm sorry, the G, and then 13 on the height. And then take it down a fret, and that's kind of the end of the song. There's like I believe it's like a bass riff. Sounds like kind of a little Cliff Burton action going on with that's kind of like a bass wah pedal thing that's going on underneath that part, but I don't think that's being played on guitar. We have 2 kind of distinctive guitar parts going on at the same time, so I'm gonna kind of stick with those and not try to do what I think is on the bass. But that's about it for the song. It's got some really cool, nice rhythms to it. It's got some of them kind of really groove, and it's amazing they're still cranking this stuff out. Anyway, I'll see you guys again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.